Welcome to episode number 287 of the Beyond 297 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording on February 21, 2019. 2020. Man, I've got all the numbers wrong in this episode. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. This week, we have a ton of things to talk about, including Moldy Burger, staple casts, exposing influencers, clever about us branding, augmented heart attacks, esports home teams, another video streamer, ode to Wikipedia, coronavirus riots, Apple's forced purchases, smart spying, the evil company list, and a lot more. And BL kicks it off, as usual, with the best story of the week. BL, what do you got?
Well, I got to go with the Burger King moldy hamburger ad, disgusting as it is. Its purpose is to highlight the beauty of no artificial preservatives. So what they did, as everybody probably knows by now, is from an Adweek story by David Griner. The campaign, as he said, breaks just about every rule in advertising. And he said it's one of the boldest, most bizarre ad campaigns ever. At the very least, it's certainly one of the least appealing. You get to watch a Whopper deteriorate into this moldy, disgusting mess over 34 days. And it's done in, time-lapse video. And I have to say, it doesn't make me want to have a hamburger, but then again, I don't eat meat. So if you ever wanted to see SpongeBob SquarePants Nasty Patty come to life, here's your chance, is what Brendan Morrow said in the week. So it's gross, but it's certainly getting attention. And it's in contrast to one that McDonald's has, that McDonald's never go bad. So if you put, because there's so many preservatives in them, that a McDonald's hamburger will never deteriorate. It just won't happen. So this is gross and attention getting and really clever advertising.
It is. It combines a lot of things that make for very compelling advertising. Obviously, the time lapse, that's a compelling visual, right? Just to watch a time lapse in and of itself. But also then the gross part. Now, it's one of my
Vikings. It's all hairy and everything.
Yeah, well, I have a Vikings blog, Minnesota Vikings chat, and one of the most popular posts I ever did was posting a photo of Bryant McKinney, who was a Vikings tackle, broke his finger. And they had a picture, somebody had posted a picture of his broken finger online, and that people wanted to watch.
Well, here you go.
Exactly. But it was gross. It was like, and gross is compelling. So yeah. A gross moldy burger, I can see why that.
It's got hair on it and mold on it.
And it's brilliant on another level, because advertising, as you said, it's supposed to be beautiful and perfect and everything. And this is not, but it reinforces the message that no preservatives. This is what happens when you don't have
completely successful in that regard. Yeah. Yep. The only thing it's missing is maggots.
That might have been going over the top.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Burger King hamburgers, but I am a fan of their Impossible Whoppers. So
oh, you had one?
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. They're great.
Do they taste like hamburgers?
They do. They do.
See, I don't want to taste a hamburger.
Have you ever?
Yeah, I used to eat meat a long time ago, like in the 70s. I haven't eaten meat since the 70s.
Then you've probably forgotten what it tastes like.
No, because when I smell it, it's so gross to me.
Okay. All right.
When I go by a hamburger place, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, I like the Impossible Burgers. I've been trying Beyond Beef because they sell it in the grocery store, so you can get. They don't sell the Impossible Burger in the grocery store. I got Beyond Beef, and their patties, their hamburger patties, are pretty good. I can get like 3/4 of the way through it before I start going, I don't want to eat this anymore. I tried the ground. They sell a package that's supposed to be like ground beef for like I was going to make tacos, right? So
Yeah.
I used this Beyond Beef and cooked it up and put in the seasoning and everything, just like you make normal tacos. Set up my tacos, bit into it. I'm like, it was not at all any good. I will know. Yeah. Anyway, I diverge.
Yes. Okay. You got a story for us?
I do. I do. So podcasting. The Verge. This is from The Verge's Ashley Carmen, who reports that Staples is, in conjunction with iHeartRadio, building podcast studios at 6 of their stores in the Boston area. So this is a trial balloon kind of thing. The studios will be soundproof. They'll have enough space for 4 people to record. They're going to sync with Spreaker technology. So Spreaker is a podcasting platform, but sync with Spreaker in when you get discounted access to their hosting distribution. So we use Libsyn for our hosting for this podcast. Spreaker is another hosting service, but you will get a discount, so it's not free. There will be a recording specialist on hand to help you. 60-minute session costs $60, so $1 a minute. But that fee only covers the actual recording. Staples will offer discounts for editing of the podcast from an outfit called We Edit Podcasts. The studios, of course, are a broader effort at their store renovations for what the company is calling Staples Connect, which is designed to create these retail outlets as co-working and community spaces for professionals, teachers, and students. It is part of the larger retail brand movement to make retail outlets, as they're competing with e-commerce and Amazon, making retail outlets more of a community meeting spots. You look at, well, we've got the Mall of America here in Minnesota, and they are an outlier because they have so many different things that it's actually a destination spot. But a lot of things that they're adding are things that are event related, and they've got amusement rides and stuff in it. So retail is really having to redefine itself, and this is another example of this. The article ends. Yeah,
I saw that and I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, the article ends by saying building a podcast studio in store does speak to the movement of audio is having, the moment audio is having. It just seems odd to build studios for a trend that might eventually die.
Yeah,
I think you and I can contest that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. I really
Audio
don't.
is not either. I mean, it's being, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a very interesting idea.
Yeah.
And, the Staples store in my neighborhood and the ones I've been to are kind of run down. So the fact that they're, going to redo them in this way, it makes a lot of sense. And, they're kind of like not pretty, but maybe they'll make them pretty now. Who knows? What I would like in a Staples store is somebody to tell me where the hell anything is. So this is an interesting one. This is from The Verge, from Dami Lee, and it's a story about the FTC cracking down on influencer marketing. The FTC commissioner, whose name is Rohit Chopra, called for tougher penalties on companies that disguise advertising on platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, making them look like authentic reviews. And the statement from the FTC commissioner specifically notes the rise of influencer marketing and the difficulties seeking truthful information when fake accounts, fake likes, fake followers, and fake reviews are now polluting the digital economy. In other words, the FTC is sick of fake friends, and they want to have real consequences for companies that violate its policies. So the FTC actually voted 5-0 to approve a Federal Register notice that would seek public comment on endorsement guides, which haven't been updated since 2009. And they need to be reviewed, obviously. And while some reviewers disclose the detail that they have sponsored posts, it's often hard to tell when the post is genuine or it's not, or if the review is coming from some partnership. So the FTC is cracking down. The focus is on holding advertisers, and this is interesting actually, advertisers and companies accountable, not small influencers. When individual influencers are able to post about their interests to earn extra money on the side, this is not cause for major concern, the commissioner said. But when companies launder advertising by paying an influencer to pretend that the endorsement is untainted by a financial relationship, that's illegal payola, which is exactly what it is. It's about time.
It's not going to happen on Facebook, though, right?
No, because Facebook doesn't care what you do, and you know, they have no regulations whatsoever.
Yeah, you need uniformity across platforms and enforcement across platforms and all that. It's good first step, but we'll see, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Facebook seems to be, you know, a little like the president, above the law, or making its own laws.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, right. Maybe
So,
later.
BL, do you remember Picture Day, BL?
Picture night?
Picture Day.
Picture day at school,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the
Okay.
day that everybody gets their picture taken.
Yeah.
So that Picture Day actually was started by a Minnesota company, which is now called Life Touch. But they were the National School Photography. I can't remember. They started off with some name that you won't recognize, but they're called Life Touch now. They're based in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, which is a hop, skip, and a jump away from where I live. And I came across their website doing some research, and noticed in their about section, they have, as most companies do, a page devoted to their executive leadership. So this is, you know, professional photography services. They do all the school photos for your picture day. They publish yearbooks. They do J.C. Penney portrait studios. But they've got this leadership page where they have photos of all of their executive leaders, their president, vice president of marketing, blah, 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 their executive team. There's photos of them. But
I hope they're done like school photos.
accompanying those photos is a little insert of their original school photo from like grade school. So it's just brilliant, brilliantly done executive leadership page, on brand, absolutely, and very charming as well. So I'll put a link to that page in the show notes so people can see for themselves. But I just had to call that out because it's very well done.
This is local. Well, I recently reposted my high school graduation photo on Facebook. You know, I really don't remember the taking of the picture, but I found it, and it had like a little wrinkle in it. It was kind of funny. But anyway, that was an experience. And I remember, like, were they around, like, to come to elementary schools too, or was it just later?
I believe so. No, yeah, they do K-12. So they do K-12. They do senior photos. They do all kinds. I mean, anything school related. They also do business headshots and commencements, other sports and stuff. So I mean, they've expanded. But yeah, I think they're the people that did the whole school class. So you get a picture of your entire
I have
class.
that from
Remember that? Yeah.
first grade, third grade. I
Yep,
don't know
yep,
what happened
yep.
to second grade. I can't find that one. Anyway, I have one about a campaign by Bayer Aspirin to help people determine their hidden risks for heart attacks. This actually came from a press release. And on the website, you can view your personalized risk factors, and then you can launch an augmented reality experience that creates a selfie for posting on Facebook or Instagram. And for every selfie that you use the hashtag your hidden risk, Bayer will donate $1 to Mended Hearts or Women Heart, up to $50,000. So I thought that was a pretty cool campaign.
That is a pretty cool campaign. They might want to target video game enthusiasts
Because they
because,
don't move.
well, because good point, good point. But also, Call of Duty, and there's a lot of action going on. Your heart starts beating really quickly, so they could be at risk for
Yeah,
both of
but
those
one of your
factors.
risks is not moving, not exercising.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
So
So
that's a good target.
this is from a Wall Street Journal article by Sarah Needleman, who reports on the rise of esports leagues. This is a new phenomenon. So longtime listeners will know that I am a diehard Minnesota Vikings and Minnesota Twins fan. BL has been known to root for the New York Yankees and the New York Giants, only when I prompt her, though, or when I challenge her.
Who do you like? Okay, New York.
But now the video game industry is attempting to harness that kind of tribalism of sports fandom with video games. So there's several video game leagues that have formed that host matches in their home markets. Activision, a video game publisher of Call of Duty, has a Call of Duty league that launched last month with 12 teams that represent cities such as Toronto, Atlanta, Minneapolis has one with the Minnesota Rocker league or team, Call of Duty team. Each team is expected to host at least one homestand weekend this year. The NBA 2K, which is a video game, has a league. It's a joint venture between Take-Two Interactive, which publishes the NBA 2K video game, and the National Basketball Association. They've held tournaments in Las Vegas and Orlando and plan to host more this year. This is the third season starting this spring with 23 teams. Just to get a sense of why they're doing this. Esports revenues grew nearly 27% last year to $1.1 billion in 2019. Wow. Yeah. Breaking it down by where the revenue comes from, sponsorships accounted last year for $456.7 million. Media rights accounted for $251.3 million. Advertising 189.2. Merchandise and tickets 103.7, in game publishers fees 95.2, and they're betting that they can up that ticket price revenue by creating these leagues and creating geographically based fans. I think it's a smart move. I've always thought since the beginning of Xbox Live that this is a spectator sport as much as this participation kind of thing. So
wait, so you buy a ticket to watch the esports?
Yep. In fact, the Minnesota Vikings, so they fund the Minnesota Rocker, which is the Call of Duty team for Minnesota. They are hosted at their headquarters is at the Minnesota Vikings training facility. So they built a building for hosting these tournaments that people pay tickets to. And the article talks about a guy from Iowa who came to watch the Minnesota Rocker play. And you basically go and watch these superstar video game players. I won't call them athletes because I don't believe they're athletes.
I should say not.
They consider themselves athletes, but that's another story. But they pay money to a ticket price to go and watch it.
You're talking about billion. That's a lot of money.
It is.
My goodness. So I don't.
The video game industry is bigger than Hollywood. I'm telling you.
Wow, that's really remarkable. Yeah. I don't have any more good news, so if you do,
I get two more. One quick one and one homage. The quick one is from Lifehackers Emily Price, who writes about Redbox. Do you have Redbox?
I do not.
Okay, so Redbox is a company. They have kiosks in like gas stations and grocery stores that they're vending machines basically for movies. So you can rent a video game or a movie, a DVD of a movie from these kiosks, the Redbox.
We don't have that here.
Okay, so they've got them all over the place here. This company has launched, it's live now, its own streaming service it's an ad-supported service that will be eventually available on all kinds of devices, but right now you can watch it from your browser, and they have an iPhone and Android apps that you can watch it from. But it's a streaming service that competes with Amazon and with Netflix and with Hulu and all the rest. It doesn't require sign-in. It is ad-supported, so interesting new entry. But also potentially you can buy advertising through it too. So it's another audience that you can reach, which has I imagine a specific demographic. So that's something to watch.
Audiences are so fragmented anymore.
They are.
You know, I mean, there's no such thing as just a national campaign. You know, it's got to be in so many forms of media. It's really complex.
Yeah, you got to do your research and find out what media your audience is consuming, and where at, and through what channels.
Data.
Absolutely.
Okay, give us your homage.
My homage. This is wonderful. This is a Wired article by Richard Cook. And so, Beal, remember when citing Wikipedia as a source got you ridiculed?
Sure did.
Yeah, well, no more, right? I mean, it is a solid source of information, and this article is kind of an homage to it, not kind of, it is absolutely an homage to Wikipedia. And I'm just going to cite a couple of passages, and we'll put a link in the show notes for people to read the rest, because this is a too long must-read kind of article. But here's one of the passages. In an era when Silicon Valley's promises look less gilded than before, Wikipedia shines by comparison. It is the only nonprofit site in the top 10 of tech companies, and one of only a handful in the top 100. It does not plaster itself with advertising, intrude on privacy, or provide breeding ground for neo-Nazi trolling. Like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, it broadcasts user-generated content. Unlike them, it makes its product depersonalized, collaborative, and for the general good. More than an encyclopedia, Wikipedia has become a community, a library, a constitution, an experiment, a political manifesto, the closest thing there is to an online public square. It is one of the few remaining places that retains the faintly utopian glow of the early World Wide Web, a free encyclopedia encompassing the whole of human knowledge, written almost entirely by unpaid volunteers. Can you believe that was the one that worked?
Yeah, that's really interesting after all these years. Yeah.
It goes on to ask, why do Wikipedians perform these million hours of labor without pay? Because they don't experience it as labor. Quote, it's a misconception people work for free, Wales, the founder of Wikipedia, told Hacker Moon in 2018. They have fun for free. A 2011 survey of more than 5,000 Wikipedia contributors listed it's fun as one of the primary reasons they edited the site. And then lastly, one last passage here. Wikipedia sought to serve as a model for many forms of social endeavor online, but its lessons do not translate readily to the commercial sphere. It's a non-commercial enterprise with no investors or shareholders to appease, no financial imperative to grow or die, no standing to maintain the arms race to amass data and detain AI supremacy at all costs. At Jimmy Wales's wedding, one of the maids of honor toasted him as the sole internet mogul who was not a billionaire. It's a wonderful read.
It is a wonderful read.
So I encourage everyone to check it out.
So after that, I have bad news.
Let's go into the bad stuff.
Well, there's something awful happened today in Ukraine. There was a viral email that apparently came from outside of the country. This is from a BuzzFeed news story, but it was all over the internet. And this one's by Christopher Miller, who was there. And there was a dangerous mix of fear and fake news about the coronavirus, and it ended up sparking violent protests in Ukraine because even though there were no confirmed cases in the country, protesters clashed with riot police and riots broke out in several places after a mass email claimed to be from the Ukraine's health ministry. And it said that there were 5 cases of coronavirus in the country on the same day that a plane carrying evacuees from China arrived. But that wasn't true. And protesters smashed the windows of buses that were carrying the evacuees, and they set fire to barricades. And disinformation about the coronavirus has spread online all over the world and caused panic in other countries ever since the outbreak started in China. This email sent to the Ministry of Health's entire contact list actually originated outside the country. The Security Service of Ukraine said in a statement that we're taking immediate steps to establish the circumstances of the mailing of, allegedly on behalf of the Ministry of Health of Ukraine, with letters with fake information about the alleged detection of the COVID-19 virus in Ukraine. The Center for Public Health said, attention, the reports about 5 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Ukraine are untrue, in all caps. And they were referring to the official name of the disease. We urge the media not to disseminate this information and to inform the press service of the Health Ministry of Ukraine of the sender upon receipt of the letter. So President Zelensky said Thursday that authorities were doing absolutely everything possible to make sure the virus won't spread, and then a monkey flew out of his ass, But riots broke out and soldiers were called in, and Nina Jankowicz was a disinformation fellow at the Wilson Center and author of a book, How to Lose the Information War, told BuzzFeed that health-related disinformation and misinformation has huge potential in Ukraine because everybody distrusts the government and the healthcare system, and it's all viewed as inefficient. So you combine this with the mistrust of the government and a sensationalist media that they have, and you have a recipe for panic, especially with a pandemic like coronavirus. This is really out of hand.
Yeah, well, expect it coming to a country near you in the near future. I mean, this is sounds a lot like Russian disinformation campaign to me, and I mean the central problem society faces today is the veracity of truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Of untruth, I think.
It's I don't. Sorry.
Well,
I mean, it's just nowhere to start, nowhere to end with it, basically.
But just today, I was at physical therapy, and someone said the reason that the virus is spreading in China, she said somebody posted this online, is that they have so much pollution that they don't get any sunshine, and what they need is vitamin D3. I said, really, what was the source of that information? It was a post on Facebook. I mean, okay, why are you telling that to other people if you don't know, if it's true? But that's how disinformation spreads.
Somebody posted something on Facebook, which I shared, which wasn't a news source. It wasn't news. It was an image. It was a meme. And the message was, hey, all you anti-vaxxers, now's your chance to go to China and prove us all wrong.
I saw that. That's so funny. Okay, what other bad news do we have?
Well, mine is not a news story. Mine is an experience. I recently updated to the latest version of Apple's iOS operating system, whatever it was, and found, much to my chagrin, that when I tried to charge my my phone using the Amazon bought charger cables that I bought, a pack of 2 very sturdy lightning cables for $10, when I plugged it in, my phone gave me a message that said, this accessory may not be supported. So it appears that with the most recent update of iOS that it's recognizing a non-Apple product and saying it's not supported. Although I don't think there's any freaking difference between that and Apple's cords, charging cords, lightning cords, except for $30.
It's been doing that for a long time, Dave.
Has it?
Yeah, it's been doing that for a long time. And on the one hand, I understand why they would do it, because if you buy a substandard cord and damage the phone, why would they be responsible for that? So, I understand it in a certain
Apple
way.
Spin. That's Apple Spin, a substandard cord. They're all the same. There's no difference between any cord, Apple's cords, and anybody else.
Well, I don't know about that.
Come on. They just
All
want
right.
the $30 they can force you to buy a new cord from them rather than.
Okay, well, you hate Apple and I hate smart speakers. So, so this is from a Recode story by Sarah Morrison. And, yes, your smart speakers are spying on you. Smart speakers record more often than you think, according to a new study from Northeastern University. That it's titled "When Speakers Are All Ears," and it notes that smart speakers accidentally activate as many as 19 times a day, recording as much as 43 seconds of audio each time. And I love the line that she writes, "That's not great if you're a privacy-minded smart speaker owner," and in parentheses, "this could be an oxymoron, especially since the companies that make these devices hire contractors and employees to listen to small snippets of recordings." So for this experiment, this study, they forced the speakers to binge listen to several 125-hour cycles of television shows, including The Gilmore Girls, The Big Bang Theory, and Narcos. And while they monitor if, when, and how the devices were accidentally triggered. The good news is they didn't find any evidence that the devices were constantly recording your conversations, and about half of the accidental activations only lasted 6 seconds. But the bad news, about the other half of the accidental recordings lasted 6 seconds or longer, some as long as 43 seconds, without the hypothetical user's permission or possibly knowledge. So what you might not know is that the intentional activation or not, the recordings are kept in servers that may be reviewed by human ears. And according to the manufacturers, it sounds creepy, but there's a reason. The more data that they get about things like accidental activations, the better they can refine their voice recognition software to prevent them. So Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft all do this. The human listeners are not told who they're listening to, but they might hear enough details to connect a voice to a specific person. The article has information about which of the brands let you listen to and delete the information they've recorded. And at the bottom of the article, there's a survey that asks, has your smart speaker accidentally recorded something you didn't intend it to record? We want to hear what happened. And then there's a Google form where you can share your experience. So I'm still not getting one.
You already have one.
You
already have one. Before this episode started, when we're
scary.
in the green room, quote unquote, when we were chatting before recording this episode, BL was finagling her phone because Siri, Apple's voice-activated product, was
asked me what I wanted, and I wasn't talking to her.
Listening to you, so
I guess she was.
You have a smart speaker.
Yeah, well, it's turned off right now.
Yeah. I mean, the degree. I mean, the stuff that smart speakers can listen to. I mean, well, two things. One, how do you know whether your smart speaker is recording you to respond to the survey?
This article has links to, for example, Amazon has a link that lets you listen to what's been recorded. So you get to see what has been recorded. So you can, not from everyone, but most of them, they do allow you to see what has been recorded. And sometimes it's surprising.
Yeah. And the other thing is I mean, I have smart speakers in every place imaginable.
Including your car.
In my car as well. Yeah. So, the things that they can listen to is, I mean, seriously, every program that you watch on TV, when you're listening to music that's not in a headphone, what type of music you're listening to, conversations that you're having, when you yell at the TV because of all the insane political shit that's going on in the world, they're going to know what your political, what if you're watching news and you're responding.
Do you have one in the bedroom, Dave?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I'd turn that
off. So there you go. The other thing that they could listen to. Thanks for pointing that out. So
I'll turn that off.
I do unplug it on occasion. So
You know, this past week, I mean, this is really funny. I don't know if you saw this. Some senator went to the bathroom, forgot to turn off his microphone in a recording, and he was so his entire bathroom. The president retweeted that, saying, "This is hilarious." But I mean,
well, I will give him that. That is hilarious.
it really was. It went on for quite a while.
So
Anyway, does that bring us to apps?
no, I got one more
Okay.
bad one. So this is actually a public service by Slate. Jonathan Fisher and Aaron Mack are the authors. They have a post listing the 30 the evil list is what they call it. 30 tech companies that are doing the most harm. And so it's an interesting, a lot of the usual suspects are included, so I won't go over them, but a handful of them that you may not have heard of, one of which is Baidu, which is China's online search competitor to Google, basically. They have appear to have been active in suppressing information about the 2019 pro-democracy protests. So that's why that's one of the reasons they give that Baidu is on this list. Vigilant Solutions. I came across this company when doing research on a client project a couple of years ago. But Vigilant Solution, every month, the reason that Slate includes Vigilant Solutions is every month the company uses automated readers to scan between 150 million and 200 million photos of license plates captured by cameras in malls, parking lots, and residential neighborhoods. In March, the ACLU sued Immigration and Customs Enforcement over its use of license plate database maintained by Vigilant to track the cars of undocumented immigrants. When you think about it, your license plate scans. If you're in New York, if you drive around New York, your license plate is probably being scanned, and the pattern of your license plate being scanned from place to place gives you an accurate depiction of where you go, of everywhere you go, right? So
Well, so does your Metro card. I mean,
oh, there you
you know,
go. But your Metro card won't probably recognize whether you've attended a political rally, for example. But license
no,
plate,
but it does know where you go when you go there,
sure.
and where you go regularly, and all of that. I mean, so the surveillance is pretty constant in one way or another,
And here's another
smart
example of
speaker or
that.
not.
And here's
Yeah,
another example of that. Palantir is a company that was founded by Peter Thiel, former
bad guy, boo.
founder of PayPal and huge Trump supporter. So Palantir is included because let's say our respondents say, I list Palantir primarily because of the company's unapologetic technical support of menacing deportation practices by the Trump administration. That was cited in this article. I mean, they do a lot of government work. And if you trust this government, then you're fine. If you don't, then you got to worry about the surveillance power of a company like Palantir as well. So
You trust this government, you've got a problem. Okay, apps. Everybody gets robocalls. It's like a really horrible scourge on our society. So this app automatically cancels and then sues robocallers.
oh,
So the consumer advocacy group Do Not Pay has launched this app, and so it's aimed at helping our national nightmare of robocalls. What it does, it's so cool. It gives you a burner credit card to get the contact details from somebody who's calling you, and then it gives you a chatbot lawyer to automatically sue them. And the idea is to make companies know there might be major financial consequences if they make robocalls. So it only works on US-based companies like the ones that try to sell you cruises and ask for your credit card. Robo Revenge is the name of it, and it automatically adds you to the Do Not Call registry, generates a virtual Do Not Pay burner credit card, which you can also use. I would like one of those to use on trials. Software trials. So you can use this to get their contact information, and then they walk you through how to sue them. And you can sue them for up to $3,000 per call under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. And that's a law that's already in existence. And the app streamlines the litigation paperwork because it automatically generates the demand letters and the court filing documents. Sound like a lot of trouble, but it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but it also assumes that the law is going to be enforced.
Yeah, well, I mean, but if you take them to court, they have to do something about, maybe they'll think twice. Maybe they'll take you off their list.
I like
I don't
the
actually
idea
get
of
those
a
calls.
bot lawyer. I get a lot of spam calls. I mean,
I don't answer them.
most of them don't, if you don't answer them, they don't go to voicemail or anything, but a couple of them do. So
Some do. The one about renewing my maintenance for my car. I don't have a car, and that went on for months. You got a deadline to renew the maintenance on your car, but for if there's not a name attached to a number, I don't answer the phone. I mean, why should I?
Yeah. All right, so I got this one's been this has been around for a while, but it's another asset that people can use. Morgue File is a photo archive, free photo archive for creatives by creatives. It was founded by Michael Connors in 1996. So this might be the original photo depository. The site was created to serve as a free image exchange for creative professionals and teachers. The mission is we are a community-based free photo site, and all photos found in the morgue file archive are free for you to download and reuse in your work, be it commercial or not. The photos have been contributed by a wide range of creatives from around the world, ranging from amateur photo hobbyists to professionals. So you can't have enough photo sites to choose from because there's a lot of stock photo out there, and you want some original stuff or stuff that hasn't been seen a lot at the very least. So there you go, Morgue File.
That's very cool. I have to check that one out. So I came across Contract Canvas, which lets you create and e-sign client agreements. The first contract is free, and then you can pay by the contract. It's $40 each, or by the month, $20 a month, and you can create up to 5 contracts. There's unlimited edits and saves, and you can cancel anytime you want. So that's worth a look.
Interesting. So they have contract templates? I mean,
yes, they do.
So like a
for
web
various
design or whatever?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
And they're simple, they're plain English.
I assume that you can you download them?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So you could just like do a one-time thing and get the template that you need. And...
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I got for Cool Tools.
I got another one that's really cool. It's an edible water bottle. It's not exactly an app, but it's from a Fast Company article by Adele Peters, and it's a company called NotPla, which stands for Not Plastic, has found a way to make water bottles you can eat or compost. So the package is made from seaweed and plant extracts, and you bite off a corner and you drink. The company started out as a school project, and it's raised more than $1 million in a crowdfunding campaign last year. And they just got VC-backed Seed Plus round of more than $5 million. And the startup partnered with Glenlivet, the Scottish whiskey brand, last year, and they made the glassless cocktail capsule. I think we talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that customers can imbibe along with the whiskey. And it's also Not Plastic is a dig at PLA, which is a corn-based plastic that acts like regular plastic if it ends up in the ocean. Algae uses far fewer resources, that's what Not Pla is made of, than corn or some other materials. And they're expanding into other applications, including containers that can hold ketchup or mayo for takeout orders in restaurants. Very cool.
Well, seaweed too is it sucks carbon from the atmosphere as well. So encouraging the use of the growth of seaweed, or the commercialization or industrialization of seaweed is helpful to the environment in that way as well. My question is, do the bottles taste like seaweed?
Apparently not.
Okay,
apparently
good.
They don't. Yeah,
but
a lot of people eat seaweed. I'm not a fan, but a lot of people do eat it. Yeah. So there's another thing. It's not exactly an app, but Twitter's an app. You can now add a tweet to an old thread. So there's still no edit option, and I can certainly see why, because that would allow even more disinformation. But I think what we need on Twitter is spell check. Then you wouldn't have to redo your tweets.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think Twitter needs to adopt Wikipedia's modus operandi with the if the ad editing, which would be a good thing for us who make mistakes. If they do that, they should do it in the way that Wikipedia does it, so that there's a history of the editing, right?
Of that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you can't let Trump edit his
I agree.
tweets.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, he just
Yeah.
can't. It's bad enough that he deletes some. Okay, go ahead.
I get no tool. You got any more?
No, I don't.
Those? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I have one political one. This is quick. This comes from Full Frontal with Samantha B. It's a great show. So she did a segment on PragerU, which is basically a educational institution, quote unquote, that really all it does is it pushes right-wing ideology in a way that's appealing to children. So buyer beware out there with the information you consume. Put a link to this segment. We'll embed this segment from Full Frontal in the show notes so people can watch it themselves on beyondsocialmediashow.com/297.
Good one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
All right. I got one pro tip. This is from CMS Wire's Brian Wallace, who writes about the hidden importance of email response times and cites some stats which are interesting. Baby boomers expect an answer to their emails in less than 1 hour. 11% of clients expect an answer in 15 minutes. 19% expect it in an hour, and 14% expect it in 4 hours or less. What this article doesn't say, and what I would add to it, is that response times, the lapse between the time somebody receives an email and the time they react to it by responding to it, is a strong algorithmic signal. This is my surmise. I don't have any independently verifiable
What do you mean by
sources. So when you receive an email, let's say it's a newsletter, you receive an email and you don't do anything with that immediately after you receive it, or you have those newsletters that you read every time.
Right.
You see it come in your inbox. Oh, that's one of my great sources. I'm going to read that right now because I know that it's good and I want to know what's in it. That's a strong signal that this is a highly relevant thing for you. There's brand affinity with that email, and so the actions that you're taking to open it right away after you receive it is a strong indicator to Google, to Gmail, to Microsoft Outlook, to all the email providers that this is positive content, and therefore you are likely to get more visibility. You're less likely to show up in your spam filters. Your emails are more likely to show up in people's inboxes than other email that don't have that type of response from the recipients. So it's an algorithmic trigger that people need to pay attention to if you're doing email marketing.
It's interesting. I mean, I have clients who expect you to answer instantly, and clients who might answer you tomorrow. I mean, it's a cultural thing in organizations.
Right.
How fast email is responded to. I mean, some people will pick up the phone if it's urgent, hello, and others will, send you an email, and I'm really not always looking at email. My friend Ike Piggott used to say that he used the Dr. Pepper method. 10, 12, and 2 is when he looks at his email. And if you want to reach him any other time, you know how to do it.
I don't understand the Dr. Pepper reference.
Dr. Pepper has on its can 10, 12, and 2 when you should drink it.
Why?
I don't know. It's part of their thing.
That's weird.
It's been around for a long time. It's a big thing in Dr. Pepper drinkers. But anyway, I mean, do you check your email constantly? I don't.
No, I mean, it depends. If I have a project that I need to hunker down on and get done, I'm not going to check. I'm not going to check in my email deliberately because I need to concentrate on getting that thing done, right? But I check my email fairly frequently throughout the day as a rule. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But I turn off the noise. I mean, I don't want to know when emails come with noise.
Yep.
If I'm trying to think, I don't want to hear bing,
Yep.
bing, bing.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
they don't make it easy for you to find how to turn off the damn noise. But anyway, I forgot one thing that's really important. I want to wish a really major happy birthday to my way cool nephew whose name is Jacob Schwartz. Today is his 23rd birthday. Happy
Yeah,
birthday, Jake.
happy birthday, Jake.
So that brings us to the daily numbers, huh?
All right, yeah. So the daily numbers. This is not numbers so much as observation based on Google Trends. So I was curious about, with the Democrats having their caucuses and everything, and having a bunch of different Democratic candidates running. I was curious as to how people were reacting to their campaigns. And so one of the first things I would do is go to Google Trends and plug in the number of plug in the names of the candidates and see how people are searching for those names of the candidates. One of the nice things about Google Trends is it shows a breakdown geographically of the keywords that you input into Google Trends. So I put in Michael Bloomberg and Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg, or Mayor Pete, actually, because more people are searching for Mayor Pete because people don't know
Because
how
they
to
can't say Buttigieg.
don't know how to spell Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and everything. And what I found, and I'll put a screenshot video that I did of this in the show notes. What I found is that for each of the candidates not named Bloomberg, the highlights of the state-specific searches were their home state. So Amy Klobuchar, Minnesota, her home state, heavy indexing of searches for Amy Klobuchar in Minnesota. That's to be expected. Same thing for Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts and Pete Buttigieg in Indiana and so forth. And then the other states that were heavy indexing of their searches were the caucus states that they campaigned in. So it was Iowa and New Hampshire. All of them, except for Bloomberg. Bloomberg had high indexing across the board. And so that was a reflection of his advertising campaign. Exactly. So people were reacting to his ads and searching for like 90% in Minnesota and in other states. He's going for this Super Tuesday, and it was just a fascinating reflection of the communication efforts of each campaign, and where Bloomberg is completely blanketing the airwaves with his ads and causing people across the United States to search for him.
Until his Wizard of Oz performance at the debate the other night. But even so, when the very next day there was the barrage of ads, and how many people really watched the debate, especially for 2 hours, and especially because what was it, the 11th one? And now there's yet another one. But now people heard about the debacle, so I would guess this week people are going to watch. Who knows?
Well, it was the last debate was had double the amount of viewership as the previous debate. So people were watching because Bloomberg was going to be involved in it. He was pretty bad. For the first half, he was not very good at all, and everybody attacked him, and I expected that. He seemed to find his footing a little bit in the second half. But again, of the percentage of people across the United States that were watching the debates is probably smaller, and whether his ads outweigh that and everything, we'll see. And I think more people will tune into the next debate
because of what happened. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, in that whole organization, the media organization the man runs, is there no media trainer? I don't get how he could be so unprepared, but it's probably a whole nother topic we could do a whole show about. Anyway, that brings us to the end of episode 297 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And if you want to find us, just search Beyond Social Media Show. And you will find links to everything we discussed on episode 297 at beyondsocialmediashow.com/297. I'm here with David Erickson. On Twitter, he's D. Erickson. On Instagram, he's DE Erickson. He blogs at eStrategyBlog.com, and he has a YouTube channel called eStrategy. I'm BL Ochman. I'm on Twitter as What's Next. I blog at What's Next Blog. My YouTube channel is also What's Next Blog. The show, again, BeyondSocialMediaShow.com, and on Twitter, we are at BS Media Show. And do follow us. Don't miss an episode. And we'll see you next week.